Hey, my name's Cole Blair, and I'm the lead biologist with the Native Pollinator Initiative here at Wildlife Preservation Canada.
Each spring and summer, we venture out into the field to survey bumblebees across Ontario. This allows us to better understand these unique pollinator insects, their population sizes, where certain species are located, and what flowers they're visiting. Bumblebees are crucial for maintaining wild and agricultural ecosystems, but have been in steady decline since the 1990s, and so these surveys help inform how we can save them from going extinct. Let's head into the field and see what the buzz is about.
All right, so now that we're here at our survey site, we can go ahead and get started. Luckily for us, we have a huge abundance of goldenrod around. It's late September, so this is going to be our primary foraging resource. So I'm going to start by just kind of meandering around in this big flower patch over here. You want to come with me? So typically when we're out here surveying, again, we have our net, as we can see. These nets are pretty handy. They're retractable, so they can extend quite far. And this is really handy in like springtime when most flowers are like trees that are blooming or shrubs that are blooming. I could reach up and swipe bees out of like a tall apple tree, for example. So I've got some bees already. So what I want to do here is kind of just angle myself. I just want to wait for it to lift off of the plant. Then I can swipe it out of the air. If I were to just hit it while it's on the flower, it would probably just fling off and I wouldn't get the bee. I'm gonna see if I can, oh, there it goes. I've got my bee here, and typically when we have a capture, we'll start by lifting the net bag up like this, and this will entice the bee to fly to the top of the net bag. So there's some other insects in here too, but we see the bee buzzing around the top of the net bag. I can then section off a part of the net to trap that bee in there and prevent it from escaping. Some other parts of our field kit here, we have these cooler bags, and in these cooler bags, we have an ice pack, and we also carry a bunch of these vials. They've got air holes in them and tape labels, but what we want to do here is temporarily place the bee in our vial and have it held in our cooler pack for the duration of our survey. And the refrigeration aspect of having the ice pack in there is not just to prevent the bee from overheating, but it also slows the bee down for ID purposes later. So if there's like a tricky ID or a confusing male, for example, because males don't usually follow the same color patterns as their female counterparts. So for some bees, it's necessary to really get that, really slow them down for ID. So what I've done here is I've just fed my vial into the top of the net bag, and I've kind of pulled tension around the net so the bee is in there, and then I can just carefully slide the cap of the vial over, and I think it got that clip, that snap, and now we have our bee in our vial. So what we have here is a common eastern worker just out collecting some late season pollen. And now that I've captured this bee, what I can do is mark its tape label with all of the relevant information. And then I can place this worker into my cooler bag for the rest of our survey. And that's pretty much what we do for the duration of our survey. We go from flower patch to flower patch, we hang around and see what species we encounter before we move on to another part of the site. And for today's purposes, really what we're targeting is going to be these dense swaths of goldenrod. Oh, that was my survey timer. All right, so we got one at the buzzer. That's nice. Little buzzer beater. I'll just get this one in a vial quick, and we can go on and compile our bees. We're just now sorting our bees, so we sort them by different categories, mainly caste and pollen status. So we'll break them apart by like workers that are carrying pollen, workers that aren't carrying pollen. If we catch queens, we can do the same thing, or males as their own section. This is just to organize in our data book, because when we go into our online database to transcribe everything, it's just easier to lay it out like this. It just makes it much more efficient. All right, so now that we have our survey completed, all our bees are accounted for and tallied up into our notebooks, it's time to release them back into the wild. She's been chilling for a while. Let's place her on a flower. There you go. Straight to it. Yeah, you can see her tongue going into the individual flowers. She's been thirsty. That's what she's trying to do, just slurp up some nectar from each of these. Thank you for joining us today on our Bumblebee survey. I hope you enjoyed learning how we search for bumblebees and why our work matters. There's so much more to discover about these incredible pollinators, and every bit of awareness helps to protect them. Until next time.